And we are live. Yes, we are. I can see it now. And welcome everyone to the very first episode of the Sanctum Sanctorum. My name is Son, and I will be your host today. This is our inaugural episode, and I have the pleasure of having a very, very good friend of mine on with me today. But right now, if you are just joining us, I see my friend Luna is here. Stu Dog is here also, and of course our illustrious guest. So guys, if you like the stream, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscription button. I'm going to keep doing this, try to do this at least once a week. But right now I have once again the esteemed pleasure of having Mr. Hatman, the devil's own himself, on the inaugural stream of the Sanctum Sanctorum. There we go. Hatman, how are you this afternoon, my time, evening, your time, sir?
I am free to speak. Glorious times indeed. I'm kicking back with a nice ice cold beer.
Are you still drinking the virus beer?
Yes, I'm on my last couple now. Then I'll be back to the whiskey for next week.
Well, just to give everyone a little bit of a backstory, right? I actually found Hatman's channel after some now, and I'm also just going to go ahead and just put out a little verbal disclaimer here. What he and I will be discussing is not intended to bring drama to this channel in any way. This is strictly interview, commentary, and I will be posting mods on my channel very, very soon. So if you come in with a negative attitude, trying to start trouble or drama in any single way, you will be blocked accordingly. So I just want to go ahead and put that disclaimer out there. Now, I found your channel. Who would do such an awful, awful thing? Especially in this day and age. So I found your channel thanks to guys like Surviving Life, my friend Quentin, and it started around there was some big drama going on, and we'll kind of touch on that in just a few moments. But for those of my friends and new audience and hopefully growing audience, can you tell us how you became the devil's own?
Oh man, it's years. This is a long story, so put your feet up, light a cigarette, kettle on. Actually, it'll be a very short story. I started YouTube, was it 4 years ago, 5 years ago? I can't remember. I think it's 4. But anyway, like a lot of YouTubers, I came on bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, full of the joys of life, and slipped into that whole, this is trending, let's do this challenge, let's do this response thing, or whatever, the ice bucket challenge, stuff like that. That stuff which was crap. That was never my thing, so I kind of expanded beyond that and started doing like a bit more edgy stuff, more serious talks. But the mistake of getting into certain Facebook groups, which were supposed to help grow the channel and stuff like that, not sub for sub, but kind of like community groups. And some of them insist on like family-friendly content, and they kind of got a bit stressful trying to, I suppose, kind of part of those communities while not really doing what I was wanting to do. So I kind of just like dumped that and just thought, you know what, who am I? Am I like a family-friendly YouTuber, or am I some roguish, devilish son of a bitch? And from that, I thought, well, you know what? I'm the devil's advocate. No, that's been done. So I'm now the devil's own. And it just went from there and just started really digging into topics, not really being afraid of pushing the envelope a bit. And in all modesty, I think as I've gone on, I've gotten better because of it. Like zero F's given.
Oh, you can
Kind
use
of.
this is the safe place, Sir Hatman. You can use whatever language you choose to use. Um, so now we as we all know, and you and I have talked quite a bit, outside of here and all of that. So, is it more? I mean, is it just a character, or do you actually subscribe to that particular philosophy in your personal belief, or is it just is it satire? I mean, what is it? I enjoy it. I enjoy it thoroughly.
Uh, a little bit of everything, I think. I'm not religious. That's one thing for definite. Though I do occasionally say that God has it in for me. So if that's the case, then yeah, I'm definitely siding with the guy downstairs. But I'd say I'm agnostic. I'll allow for the possibility that it might all be real, but if it's real, it's not in the context as recorded in the Bible. So is there a concept that possibly there is some being basis for God? Maybe. Is there a suggestion that maybe some being which was the devil? Maybe. And let's face it, history's written by the victors. So if the devil's the underdog, I'm going with him. Besides, I don't see any, debauchery and alcohol-fueled sex parties going on up in heaven. Do you? Keep it down, dirty, very, very hot.
I don't know if
But there's a satirical element to it as well.
Do what now?
It's definitely a satirical element to it. I'm not like a practicing Satanist, unlike what Jared might suggest, like, he's just a Satanist. No, Jared, that would require some belief in, religion.
That's very true. I mean, we've in you and I have kind of gone back and forth a little bit about that. But what really drives you to do this? Now, I've watched your channel. I love your channel. It absolutely just brings a smile to my face. And the premise of the channel is very
That's
simple. Good. The premise of the channel, I mean, is very entertaining. You're pointing out people that people should be aware of, definitely, and we'll go into a few of them in just a moment. What keeps you motivated? Is it just the fact that there are still people like this in the world, or the ones that are still out there haven't learned their lesson? I mean, obviously, you get rid of one and two more pop up, but what really keeps you motivated?
The creative element, I think. It's sometimes it's difficult at the best of times, and when you look at things like YouTube, where it seems to crack down so hard on small YouTubers who are trying to do something, be creative or make a difference, you begin to wonder what's the point. Staying motivated, certainly over the last 6 years, has been increasingly difficult. There are times I think that I'm closer to the end of my YouTube journey than I am in the beginning now, but it blows hot and cold. Last week, obviously, I cancelled my live stream at short notice due to some personal matters, and I thought, that's it, I'm done now. And then I came back feeling, okay, I feel a bit better. But then again, a few weeks ago, I felt much the same. And then I came back again, plans to do all of the Stetson stuff. You can talk about that one a bit later on. But it's peaks and troughs. Sometimes it's a lot easier than others.
Well, I'd heard.
But I think the biggest thing is it's a creative outlet.
Well, I'd heard about that when you had canceled the stream last week. There were some things going on, and I'm sure that it was obviously serious enough to have to do that, and glad to hear everything has worked itself out. So, where what did when you started the Devil's Own, what were you first? I know you're in Newcastle, UK. Am I correct?
Yeah.
No.
Way.
Do what?
I'm a northern boy.
Northern boy. So when you started doing the Devil's Own channel, were you just pointing your guns metaphorically at what was going on over there, as far as the same like topics that you cover, with the weirdos that we have come across on YouTube over the course of the last several months, or has it just been stuff that you see going on wrong in your country, or things to that? Like, what did it originally start out as?
Right. Well, way back in the very start, out as political commentary on the Brexit debate and the EU referendum. So there's a lot of UK political commentary. That's a very niche market at the best of times. That didn't pick up a lot of traction. And from there, it just kind of went into whatever was trending. There's a few of us started roughly the same time, so we were sort of in a little clique anyway. And we were sort of bouncing off each other in terms of what ideas were going backwards and forwards, but it was all like friendly, trending, the kind of YouTube fluff that you'd see. But it wasn't until I got fed up with doing that thing, and this is not me, this is not what I want to do, that I rebranded from. I've always been Hatman in terms of the name, but the Devil's Own was kind of like a new dynamic I brought in probably 2.5, 3 years ago, maybe. I can tell you exactly when. I think it was back in here it was 19th of April 2018. I made the change, so just over 2 years ago I rebranded. Before that was all kind of family friendly stuff like Vlogmas and things like that.
Well, you was it more of a rebranding, or did you just get pulled downstairs and the boss basically just waved his finger at you and be like, "This is what you're going to do now. I'm sending you back. Go do it."
It could have been either. There was definitely a formal rebranding. I mean, some of the topics that were going on before that were still essentially edgy. I'm just going back through some of my old videos around that time. But like I said, the family friendly kind of stuff was stuff like Vlogmas and things like that, and occasionally I'd dip into something like maybe Blair White's commentary. So I was just kind of into that side of it already at that point. So it was kind of like bubbling beneath the surface, as it were.
Uh-huh.
But I was still trying to juggle it between what I wanted to do and this family-friendly communities. So I was like being on things like The Last Jedi opinions and predictions for the series, but then I also go in like Logan Paul's Forest thing, like that. So it was kind of like I was sitting on the fence, as it were, and it wasn't getting me anywhere because I'm trying to be well behaved for this community, but at the same time it's holding me back from doing stuff that I really want to comment on.
What are some of the things that you would really like to comment on? Like, what are some topics that?
Yeah, because it was about that. Well, let's put it this way. I made the difference. Basically, the video I did, which kind of like cemented the change I was going to make, was in April 2018. It was family friendly or Devil's Own, and from that it was like, okay, I'm committed now. I'm going to be the Devil's Own. So I followed that up with the first video I did was penis transplants are a thing. And then I went into a couple of roasts, and Cunt of the Month came along at the end of that very month. No, actually, it might have been on the line. No, it was the end of that month. The first Cunt of the Month took place.
Well, I know
with the rise of the devil, so came with.
Well, I know that that you're good friends with Mr. G, and Mr. G is also another great channel on YouTube. I may try to have him on at some point to kind of talk about how he became Mr. G, I guess you could say. But he's a good guy. His content's great,
Yeah,
and
I created him.
oh, you created. Well,
Yeah, I created Mr. G.
Then the next thing you're going to tell me is you created Lady D as well, which I think you had a hand in that, but we'll never know.
Yeah, I work behind the scenes with her on that one, but it's hers. It's I put together like the tech side of it for her, but the commentary side of it, that's hers to do with as she please.
Right, and if she ever in fact see this, Lady D, I am a huge fan of yours. Um, don't be gone for too long, please. So now, you and I began corresponding via email and Twitter before I got kicked off, which I won't really go into that. But we were basically just kind of, I was sending you information for videos on certain people, and we'll go ahead and we'll get into them one at a time. The first one that I remember seeing was about Jared. Now, of course, for those who are not familiar with Jared, they're basically just go onto YouTube, do a search on Jared Genesis, and you will see the you will see the chaos that became of that, and there's no shortage of smoking guns on in that area. How were you made aware of him and what he had done at the time?
Like a lot of people, I think I became aware of it through Keemstar's original tweet that there was a telling YouTube predator in their midst. So I kind of followed back from that and then did my own video on him, and they just sort of attracted huge Jared haters and people who obviously had been dealing with him for a long period of time. Some people have been dealing with it for weeks or months, some people for years, like obviously Chris and Down. But it was kind of like the whole anti-Jared community all sort of opened up, and I found myself swept along with that for six months. It must have been like August 2019, I think. God, it was only that long ago. But yeah, so his tweet led me down that rabbit hole.
That and trust me, that rabbit hole is it's definitely a grimy rabbit hole indeed. A lot of people don't really come out clean on the other side, I guess you could say. If there's even an other side to it, but for now he's been silenced, and it's definitely made things a little bit better, but in the aftermath of that, it's actually kind of gotten worse. Now we've come across people such as your latest target, a certain person by the name of Stetson, who apparently tried to pretend to be an Asian woman, even though he was exposed later on to actually not be. And honestly, I didn't know of his existence until another member of. Let's hang on. Stu Dog said something. What is this? He said, "I didn't realize that I'd known about Jared for like 5 years." I think Stu Dog. I think that even a week knowing about him is like a year. So you could have known him for 5 weeks, and it would have probably been 5 years. In that time. Um, thank you for coming in, Luna. Hey, sorry you had to bounce out early, but thank you for popping in. I really appreciate it. Once again, guys, everyone that's watching, please hit the like button and give your new YouTuber here a subscription. I'm gonna try to keep doing this at least once a week, if not every other week. I've already got a few others lined up already. So, can you tell me where Stetson came from exactly? Because to be honest with you, sir, I don't even know. Like he just appeared once he was mentioned to me from Miss Whiplash, who is another regular in your live streams every week.
Stetson. I didn't realize I actually knew who Stetson was until I knew who Stetson was. Stetson came around off the back of that Andy situation, because obviously Andy's attracted the ire of many other YouTubers on the platform and through Discord and Twitter. And in interacting with some of those other people, I've come across Stetson, and then I've kind of like realized I recognize that face, and I remember him from when I was diving into free speech tube last year, and I did a video on LSE that Stetson regularly came up on that platform. He's not there anymore, it looks like, but I remembered seeing him and a lot of his really dumb arguments, and he was kind of one of those I'd earmarked that if I ever went back to review that platform further, that he was going to be one of the first ones I'd look at. I never went back to it. It was just too much of a cesspool. But obviously, I seem to have come across him again, and a different dynamic to him now, not just as the whole pro-pedophile, well, he still is, but on free speech too, was very much pro-pedophile contact and all this, that, and the other. He's still that, but there's a whole different dynamic and political dynamic to what he's trying to do, and it's just absolute batshit crazy. It's absolute.
Well, before we continue on the subjects here, there is one thing that I just remembered that I forgot to point out about you and I. We will we kind of like to have a little banter every so often about our football teams, and I just happened to look over and I have a scarf hanging on my door for mine, and so I just wanted to go ahead and just say West Ham all the way, just to throw that out there at you Newcastle boy, you. Um, um, but it's always fun to just kind of go back and forth with you about that just a little bit. But I just wanted to throw that out there. So when
It might be less fun if the takeover goes ahead.
Say again.
You might find if the takeover goes through.
I actually, honestly, just a few days ago, I actually did finally get to watch the very last game they were doing at Upton Park. West Ham was doing it at Upton Park before they fully moved over to. I guess it's still going to be labeled Queen Elizabeth Stadium. I'm assuming, but the
beats me.
That's right. Everybody has their team that they have to stick to. I guess otherwise you're a traitor. Maybe I don't know how it really works. So now you had done a couple of videos recently on Stetson, which I did get to see before they were mysteriously taken down, and I'm sure that there are people who are watching who know the situation, but the ones who will see this after it is uploaded and everything, what happened with those? Because within not too long after they went up and I got a chance to see them, they were gone.
So they went up on Monday evening, Monday evening my time, so afternoon your time. And they sat there for about 24, 30 hours. And then a couple of comments came in from Stetson on each of the videos, muttering about something. He replied something to Jeremy, Jared Wars, something about Hatman being a pussy. And then next thing I know, I've gotten to bed and I get an email notification from YouTube on my phone that copyright claims have been lodged against both videos by Suwon Media Group presents Our Victimhood of Conservatives, which is a fictional company, of course, but definitely Stetson. So he's lodged false copyright claims that I've used his content, which is funny because I used clips out of 2 videos, which I clearly marked as to who they belonged to. Thrash Metal Guru was one of them, and 3 videos. Andy was another, and the third one was Zach the Celtic Sky. So all 3 of them clearly identifiable, none of which was Stetson. So he's claiming my video and theirs, and apparently YouTube's commentary boxes as being copyright. So I'm currently waiting on YouTube to pull their finger out and do their review before they kick it back to him to prove he owns the copyrights. The downside of that is because I have to do a counterclaim, he gets my personal information.
Well, that the fact that you're trying to claim something that's clearly not copyrighted, and especially with everything going on in the state of the world the way that it is currently, I'm sure that YouTube doesn't have or has any actual staff looking into this. So I'm not even sure. I mean, it could probably be weeks or months or whatever before they actually get up and actually do something about all of this. Which I've seen it said more than once that YouTube has slowly become basically every social media platform is becoming a cesspool in a way to where they're giving voices to those who clearly, and I'm all for freedom of speech, clearly, but when it comes to certain subjects, especially when it has to do with protecting kids and animals and things to that effect, you don't let people like that on the platform where they're going to be advocating for something that's obviously the opposite side of the twisted coin for those people. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping they'll get that cleared up for you in a timely fashion, because honestly, that's clearly a lie, which is in violation of YouTube's terms of service for a false claim, especially when it comes to a copyright claim, if I'm not mistaken. But videos get flagged falsely all the time, and they end up getting taken down, and you have to deal with the whole strike situation, and then finally it can go away, and then maybe you can try to slip it back on somehow. Excuse me, before they notice it, I guess, for a second time.
Yeah, well, I think YouTube will have to do a manual review anyway, because they've clearly flagged it on the basis of his own submission, because it says it's been manually reviewed by him. But obviously, because he submitted the formal claim takedown notice, the bots have just acted on it straight away. So I've had to do a counterclaim. So someone will have to review it and literally watch the video and say, well, no, there's nothing in there that belongs to him, and there's no grounds for it. So they'll no doubt reverse it, but subject to the rules being what they are. They've got to give him 10 working days after they've reviewed it for confirmation he intends to raise a lawsuit, which he won't do. I mean, there's no way he's going to do that. He can't do that. He's got no copyright to file under. But as part of the counterclaim, I've got to submit my details to him, or to YouTube rather, and they'll forward it on for him to do what he wants to do with it. And as we know, Stetson's a shitheel, and he will use that to dox me. I know he will
Stu
because he's
Dog,
done to Gage.
which I'm sure would be a grave mistake on his part as far as you are concerned, sir. Um, and I don't think that they're. I don't even think that the boss himself could help him out at that point. So uh, when he in when you unleash your wrath upon that, I think that I'll just sit back with some popcorn and a beer and just watch it unfold. Uh,
It's two things. I mean, it's obviously the time it takes to get the video back online, which is going to be a minimum of 3 weeks. It was always going to be 2 weeks for that after they review it, and the rest of it just depends how long YouTube takes, which I expect to be at least a week. The only silver lining is I'm not big enough that I'm making money off it anyway, and the videos were flagged because of choice language that they weren't earning ad revenue anyway, except from YouTube Red, whatever it's called these days.
Yeah, that I'm still in the in the learning stages of YouTube Studio, but I guess because I'm not a bigger channel, I don't know if I could really stream using that. But I'm glad that there are platforms like StreamYard that give me an opportunity to try to get my voice out there a little bit and kind of do what I want to do for fun. And if it takes off, it takes off, and if it doesn't, I can just keep doing it and have fun with it and go from there. Stu Dog says the thing is, virus or not, YouTube has a deal with it in 14 or 30 days. Can't remember which. Or they are in violation of federal laws and constitution. So even if humans don't look, bots will auto. Let's see. In a manual review, he would need to provide a timestamp of where his material is. That is in fact good point. And Stu Dog Squash Stetson. Stu. If you can hear me, why don't you go ahead and put us a mic drop on there too, there, buddy. Um, uh, so let's move away from that, and I'm sure that you'll be on again at some point, and we'll get updated on that as time goes on. Now, with this next one that I'm about to bring up, let's kind of not necessarily dance around what he is, but for the sake of some of the people listening, let's not really get into too much detail about it. But your good friend and mine, Andy, was someone who popped up after the whole Jared fiasco. Which there's no nice way to describe him, but we're gonna I'm gonna let Sir Hatman here um, try to explain it the best way that he can. How were you made aware of his existence?
Through Dark Ninja, sadly. I think probably most people became aware of Andy through Dark Ninja. If it wasn't for him, no one would know he existed. He was just this obscure little fat dog molesting freak that nobody ever heard of.
That
should have stayed that way, frankly. Life would have been so much more cheerful.
Oh, Stu Dog, I'm glad you're here watching, buddy. And apparently Quentin has popped in. Quentin, what's going on, my dude? Nice for you to pop in and show your boy here some love a little bit. I literally just said, "Hey, what's going on, Quentin?" Like that comment was just a little premature there, man. Um, I don't know exactly how much you know about him, but was he just? I mean, do you know if he had always been around and posting his insanity, or did this start up like after the whole? Jared situation, and we were made aware of people like, you know, Hatman and Gage and all that. Like, what was the? What was his? 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 ninja and everything who were actually advocating. Well, he would say that he's not, but if you go back and look at comments on like multiple videos, I mean, it's clearly that he's advocating, and then he tries to backpedal. And you're looking into him and he's obviously had multiple channels taken down. What? If you can decipher what my question is, please feel free to just go ahead and answer it. But
I think I got the basic gist of it.
Okay.
I think for all Dark Ninja can be a bit of a twat, and it was probably for his own gain as much as anything. I mean, I don't know what his motivation was behind it, but he sort of like introduced the likes of to a bigger crowd. Now, granted, most of that crowd was counter trolling Ninja, so whether it was much good or doing much good is a question. But I kind of got in with some of Andy's, I don't know what you'd want to call them, his trolls, people who are like tracking him down and what he's getting up to. So I've kind of been on the periphery, as it were, but I've never like been in the inner, as it were, like with like Kaz and Jennifer Ranilla and people like that who've been like following Andy and monitoring him and trolling him and getting into it and all that, and that's kind of a bit before my time. And I think there's so much background. Andy's been doing it for so long. I mean, by so long, it might only be a matter of months or even a couple of years, but he's done that much. I don't think anybody who's new to it could go through all of the background. It's kind of like with Stetson. I mean, if I was to go through all of the background, he's been floating around for 10 years. It just wouldn't be possible to go through it all.
Well, that's
Andy was on Twitter the other night and having himself a little necrophilia, pedophilia, micro dick posting rampage, and he fortunately got off that pretty quickly.
Well, now what I'm going to ask you is definitely on a serious note, because from what I understand, you have two children, as you've made us aware when we all hang out in the live streams, and I've put a link to Hatman's channel in the description below. So go give my good friend here a subscription. Check out his content; it is amazing, and his live streams are always a lot of fun. Every Friday for at least a couple hours. Come and hang out with everybody. It's always a good time. But you've said that you have two children yourself, and with everything that's been going on YouTube over the last several months with Jared and Ninja and Andy and now Stetson and everything else, what is the advice that you could give to parents out there who let their kids watch YouTube? And I understand that there's the whole the new COPA, I think I'm saying that correct. The whole COPA Act and everything is now in place.
Yeah.
What when it comes to trying to keep for parents to try to keep their kids away from people like this, like what advice can you give them?
I don't know if there's any that can be given to them, because if someone's going to engage in some sneaky shit to try and get access to kids, then they're going to do it. I mean, Andy's a prime example. We know he's in his 20s and he keeps passing himself off as 15. He uses crappy little drawings as his avatars, and he sounds stupid. He sounds like he could even potentially look like he's a teenager, depending on what he looks like on a given day. But he does a good job of like trying to pass himself off as a kid to get himself into those communities. I've got no, didn't know much about it. I mean, you hear obviously what's in the news, like, oh, there's predators here, there's predators there. But until you're digging for it and looking for it and seeing it, then you don't really know just how bad it can be. I mean, I don't think it's as bad as the media would say. That's like, oh, there's like millions of them online. I don't think it's millions. I think there's probably a few hundred, maybe a few thousand. But they're so prevalent. So I have like 10 different channels, stuff like that. I mean, how many channels, for instance, has Jared been through? He keeps getting banned. Actually doesn't really get banned that often. All of his old channels are still up. It's only a couple of his recent channels which have been banned. But they just move around. They lurk.
Yeah, I think over the last, like, since go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter is a good example. Because with me following like Kaz Warfox now, he often tweets like all like various accounts which are like posting either bestiality stuff or child porn stuff on Twitter, and it's open on Twitter. I don't know if they're creating these accounts or if they're hacking old accounts and hijacking them or what. But it's like open, it's out in the public, you report it, Twitter bans it, but do anything with it? Do they pass it on to the authorities afterwards, or do they just delete the account, you know?
It really,
and YouTube seems to be very much the same. They don't YouTube act people's behavior off the platform.
Right. I mean, it really seems that they're not stepping up to the plate like they should, especially especially now more than ever when it's become more prevalent than it was before. It's definitely there's more. I mean, you clearly see more of an abundance, and then you have all of these other little side platforms that people slip into, and basically they think that they're going to hide out there, and people are going to support them, which I'm sure that they're getting more support on the platforms they try to hide on than anything else. But as a parent yourself, I mean, what when you first got into all of this, like, what steps did you take to make sure that your children personally were protected from all of this? I mean, I'm sure that you explained explained everything to them about what what was kind of going on, not going into a lot of detail, I'm sure. But you as a parent, what are you doing to keep your kids away from things like that and people like that?
Well, they're both on YouTube. They both got accounts anyway. My daughter sometimes uploads little videos to her channel, which obviously I've never linked. I've never made public anything like that. But she doesn't reply to anything like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm logged into it through my browser anyway, so I can go into it any time to see if anyone's commenting, anything's been blocked or anything like that. But nobody, I mean, she doesn't know how to do tags or anything, so nobody's really like finding what she puts on there. My son watches YouTube, but he doesn't comment or do anything on it from that side. So they're both effectively invisible, as it were. But in either case, I'm logged into their accounts, so periodically I'll check it, see what's going on, and so far I've seen nothing which concerns me where they're concerned, at least.
Well, that
but if I did, I'd be on like a shot.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's one thing that I've always told people when I started kind of looking into this, and guys like my good friend Quentin in here, and I've watched a lot of Stu Dog's material and everything. When I became aware of all of this, I immediately tried to start passing information on to friends of mine that I knew had children that were on YouTube. Like, listen, these guys are out here. This is where you can go and find all of this. Do what you need to do to keep these people, and people is putting it nicely, but for the atmosphere of the sanctum, we won't get too much. We won't go too much into what they really could be labeled as. But I've passed this information on to so many people and made them aware of it, and a few of them have messaged me like on Facebook or what have you, and they're just like, hey, thank you for telling me about this. They'll report. I know FBI reports have been made, and everything. They want to do Everybody wants to do their own little part to try to get this taken care of, and I know a lot of people would probably say, oh well, you're not giving your children their privacy or what have you. Well, if they're young and they're impressionable and they're on YouTube watching, because I mean, a lot of it's masked from what I've understood, like videos with Disney characters and things like this. They try to mask it to where they can get to that audience, but they're like, you have to monitor things like this. There's just no other way around it. I mean, until and just keep the best eye you can on them, and I for one applaud you for keeping a close eye on what's being viewed and everything like that. But do you, in your opinion, with the ones that you have personally done commentary on and have made people aware of over the last several months and everything, do you think at any point that this will go away, or do you think it'll get worse? Do you think it'll get worse before it gets better?
I would hope, or at least it's approaching the bottom of the trench. It's going downhill ever since. I mean, I'm fairly left in terms of my political views, not like hard left. I'm left leaning, center left. But I'm not like the hard left where you SJWs and things like that. My God, those guys piss me off as bad as the far right do. But I mean, I'll advocate that there should be liberties, but not necessarily without consequence. And you'll have like the really hard right guys who want to control everything, despite what they may have the really left wing guys who'll say, "Oh, we want just complete liberty to do pretty much anything." And it's finding a balance point between the two has become so polarized. It just seems like it's almost impossible at the moment to actually get back to some sort of in the middle ideology. It's just it's one way or the other way. There's just constant conflict. And it's gone the way that the ones who want the greatest liberty are the ones who will shout the loudest to suppress other people as well. So you'll get the likes of the Amos Yees of the world who advocate for, get rid of all these laws. Yes, there should be contact. Children should be free to engage in relationships with adults. It's like, on the one hand, objectively, and I mean really, really objectively, some of his arguments might make sense because you can't take a bunch and say, oh, no children can ever consent. And that's what he takes. He takes that teeny tiny little percentage that are older than their year-olds who are thick as pig shit. I mean, there's one sitting in the White House right now who is about as intelligent as an average 5-year-old. So on the one hand, he has an argument that age is not necessarily the be-all and end-all, but for the vast majority of cases, it's relevant. But his voice gets traction, especially with people who argue about government and regulation. It's all a conspiracy. civil liberties are being suppressed and all this, that, and the other. It's all twisted into arguments that aren't relevant. And the original point is missed. And it's things like, we're talking about a guy here who's ultimately arguing potentially for guys who are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old to potentially be legally allowed to get into it with 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds because they might potentially agree to it, which they might potentially agree to it on the basis that, I'll buy you a Lego Death Star. Someone's going to buy me a Lego Death Star right now, I consider it. It's stuff like that, and they've not even got a vested interest in it. I mean, MLC, for instance, he's not, as far as I've been able to determine, he's not an actual pedophile himself. He advocates for it, but actually one, which makes him, in my opinion, worse, because it's not like he's got that screw loose in his own brain to argue that he wants to be involved with kids because he can't help his attraction. He's literally arguing for other people to do it, and he has nothing to gain personally. He doesn't get any pride personally. It's not his kids that's going to be abused. It's like the ultimate SJW, sitting out there on the sidelines making an argument where he paid no price for whatsoever nation frankly deserves, especially when he takes evidence and twists it, distorts it, and borderline fabricates it to make his point. And people like him give rise to the Stetson Hardwicks of the world, who just outright deny any evidence which is to the contrary of their views. And then Stetson gives rise to the likes of Andy, who are even more stupid, who then take some of his points and then say, fucking my dog is a fetish. It's like, what?
Yeah. There's that.
It's like hurtling down a slide on a big ass cheese grater. It's like, always going to be painful at the end.
Right, or a description that I always like to use from time to time is standing on bloody stumps in a snow-covered minefield. You move one wrong direction and it's done with. I'm, and really, I keep this. I watch the videos. I comment here and there. I do what I can to get information to the correct authorities and things like that. And one thing, and you and Quentin is here. Quentin, give me just a couple. Give me just a couple more moments here, and I'll bring you in for just a minute. There's like the information is passed to the correct authorities, which is something that everyone should do. And I encourage anyone that is watching right now, or it will watch this later on. These people that we are talking about, and once again, I will say this is not to start drama. This is strictly commentary, and this is to make people aware of what is actually going on. Report these people to the correct authorities. I mean, Sir Hatman here is in the UK, so he has no real pull as far as the US laws go, but I'm sure that, I'm sure that you're, doing whatever you can to try to get information to the correct people, the best that you can. That's just one thing that I definitely want to push is don't speak up. This is something that doesn't need to consistently continue to happen on a platform like YouTube, where we all know that, kids' content is consistently and always being made all the time, every day. And it will. And honestly, I'm kind of worried that it'll get worse before it gets better. I'm trying to stay positive about this, that eventually the thing, the right people will finally pull the trigger on some of these and do what we can to to try to get them out of here. So I'm going to bring Quentin in for just a moment and let him say hello. Quentin,
Oi.
Hello, my friend.
Oi, what's up?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going just fine. We've been going for almost an hour here, and Sir Hatman was kind enough to free up just a little bit of his time for me today for me to go live. And now that Quentin is here, I will ask. Well, Quentin, I mean, you're aware of everything that's been going on over the last few months. That's actually how you and I met and became friends. Um, Everything that you've heard Hatman and I talking about and everything. Do you have something you'd like to add to that?
They all deserve to be shot.
Waste of a bullet, if you ask me, but okay.
So
That or
with fire.
Bubbles should sneak up behind them in the shower at jail.
are you talking about like a reenactment of the shower scene from Psycho, or
No, more like the movie theater scene in Shawshank Redemption.
are you talking about where where he was beaten up in the projection room? Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Okay, okay. I was about to say that because I actually just watched that movie again recently for like the millionth time, and it's like, okay, so um, so in well, I'll go ahead and get to this with you, Hat Man. What does the future hold for the Devil's Own?
I don't know. I'm just taking it a week at a time now. In ideal circumstances, volumes 2 and 3 of the Stetson review would have been going live maybe next week and the week after, but those are on hold until YouTube gets their head out of their ass and removes my copyright strike.
That was
On the plus side, it did inspire me to channels on about 8 other platforms, so I'll put the video. Well, I have already put the videos up on everything from Daily Motion to DTube to BitChute to IGTV. So I'll start uploading my stuff everywhere now.
It's definitely a good idea to have backup platforms and everything, especially when it comes to people who are trying to hide their identities and everything. But and just for me personally, as you've referred to me several times since you and I have become friends, your apprentice here is always at your service if you ever need my help with anything. So
it's pretty kinky right there.
Shut up, Quentin.
Well, in the meantime, I've got 6 videos I've recut, so they'll start going live next week. So at least I'll keep myself busy in the meantime.
So a lot of people have been asking me.
I have a cut of the month to do after that.
A lot of people have been asking me what my plans for YouTube are, and well, I might be retiring.
I was just about to ask you what was new with yours and what was going on with that. You and I have talked on Discord a little bit over the last couple of weeks, and I was just about to ask you what the plans were for your channel. I certainly don't want you to retire.
Well, right now I've been streaming on Mixer for a bit. I just like the thing is with me, I just don't care about the drama anymore, man. Like I don't want to be a part of the fucking retard ninja saga or Return of the fucking 8-year-old diddler saga or whatever the fuck comes up next, dude. I don't care enough to keep doing it. Like, it's not fun for me. It's not. I don't have fun going in and just like having to deal with fucking Isaac, fucking Isaac's shit. I can't. Like, that's the problem. Like, I already deal with stupid people all day when I'm at work. Like, I don't want to come home and then hop on the only platform I used to have a lot of fun on, and then deal with stupid shit like this. I
Right.
mean, yes, what he does is wrong, and I've already done all I can to, get him off of the platform, to get them fucking taken to jail. But, I mean, I've done all I can, and I feel like, if this shit continues, because it's going to continue either way. I mean, like, I still get brought up by Dark Ninja because of a certain person, and in all honesty, I'm just tired of the bullshit.
And
That's
I
just
think
simple.
and I think a lot of people are definitely. It's definitely a very sensitive subject, and it's time consuming, and it's mentally draining, and um, it definitely makes you it definitely makes you want to well, not look at, but basically just take a step back and look at humanity as a whole, and just kind of ask yourself, how did we get to this point? um, I do know that um, I, for one, um, the people that are still out there, fighting the good fight, and making people aware of this, like Hatman and Stu Dog and Lady D and all of that. They're doing, they're doing what they can, and that's what matters. They're making this information available to the public on a platform that millions of the people use all the time, every day. And I think that I mean, it definitely needs to continue. But
No, I want to clarify in case Dark Dipshit watches this. As
he's
everyone in the party in this chat knows, I've been doxxed. I've had my address released. I've had my name, my phone number. I'm not if I decide to leave YouTube, which I don't really know where I'm going with it yet. It's not because I got doxxed. I could give two shits and the fuck less about being doxxed. If I leave YouTube, it's because I don't see fun in it anymore, and uh, I don't know. I like Mixer. I don't really have any followers right now, but I like the way that it interfaces with my Xbox, and I'm working on getting a camera for it. You know, and I have friends on Xbox now that I can talk to, and we can stream together, and it's a lot more fun than hopping on YouTube and then a bunch of stupid fucking people just come in and start a whole bunch of other drama. Like, there's no drama with, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. There's no drama with Apex Legends. It's all us just, getting high as fuck and shooting people. That's the extent of what we do. And you know, I've said since day one, like, look, if you got this problem with this person, that's cool and all. Just don't bring it to my channel. Like, that's
exactly,
all I ask.
exactly, and that's why I said before Hatman and I got on the subject that this is not a drama starter. This is just strictly commentary to make people aware of what's going on, and that's the entire intention of it. But it's definitely important to continue to make people aware of the situations and keep them up to date, because this is not really, it's not really something that you're gonna, turn your TV on and see on the 6 o'clock news, or on CNN or what have you. So I mean, it does need to be made aware of on a platform in some way. I mean, people like this are going to be hiding in all kinds of uh, corners of the internet, or the deep or dark web, whatever you want to call it. They're going to continue to find a way to try to get their opinions out there and think that they can make a difference and try to get things changed. But as long as there are people who are willing to stand up and say no, then that's that. As long as there are people that still have a voice and will stand up and say no, this is not how this works, this is not how this is going to continue, we're going to keep speaking up, and we're going to keep trying to put as many blocks and laws and what have you in the way. Hang on, Stew Dog. Let's see. Not sure if Ninja is quitting all this. He's been massively removing content from his channel. I've noticed that as well. But, like I said, this is not, if he does in fact see this, like I said, we are just making commentary. This is not for you to try to, get some type of battle started. This is not what this is. And just to clarify, I don't support any of these people whatsoever. I want to make that abundantly clear. The two gentlemen that I have on the show right now are two people that I support very heavily, and I applaud everything that they have done, and I will continue to do so. Stew Dog, I also support you as well. I love your content too, but I just think that I think that, and honestly, I wish that more was being done in a more, and it's wishful thinking, but a more rapid fire pace. When Jared was spewing everything that he was saying, he should have been immediately taken down. When when Ninja jumped on and advocating for all of these people, he should have immediately been taken off. Betsy's the same way, Andy's the same way. They should have all been removed. But I understand that processes take time, but I mean, how much more can you really do before something gets taken seriously? Hatman, how much more time do you have?
I make it 9:10 my side of the ocean.
Well, I knew you said that you had about an hour or so, and I didn't want to keep you longer than you had available. Stew Dog, if you can hear me, I will.
Yeah, I'll get about 15-20 minutes.
Okay, well then, in that case, I'm going to bring Stew Dog in for just a moment if he would like to join us.
So, the thing is, Edmund Burke once said, "For the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing."
Amen to that.
And I mean, that is true, but at the same time, a lot of us that originally started the whole Jared Genesis fucking anti-movement, a lot of us are just getting tired. Like, Hatman, I don't want to speak for you, but I mean, me and you have had conversations, and I know you were getting tired of it for a while, and I am definitely fucking tired of it. It feels like anytime, we speak out against somebody who's just doing dumbass shit, the people that are originally going against him turns fucking about face and then starts coming at us. And I'm actually pretty cool with the Happy Hour crew as of right now. I don't really have any problems with them. We talk a lot, but it's the other people in the fucking in this community, I guess you would fucking call it, even though it's so dysfunctional, really shouldn't be categorized as it. You know, the thing that I want is I just want to be left the fuck alone. And that's just being honest. Like, I want to go back to what the fuck I was doing before all of this stupid shit was going on. I mean, dude, I know I didn't have 180 subscribers before all this shit happened, but I was still happy with the 160 that I had. Like, you know, I was okay with getting low amounts of fucking views on my streams because it meant I didn't have drama. And I was okay with that.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
I mean, let me ask you a question, Hatman, because you and I have been streaming. We've been doing YouTube about the same amount of time. What would you rather have? A fucking maybe like 60 subs and maybe 30 views a video and no drama whatsoever, or 10,000 subs, like hundreds of views per video, and then just nonstop fucking drama?
I think the bottom line is drama does sell, but there's a point where it gets out of control. If it's limited, if it's somewhat managed, then yeah, but then you get to a point where you just think, you know what, I can't be arsed with this shit anymore. It's like with Jared gone, Ninja stepped up and then just turned into a big, well, I won't say much more than that, but after him, there's obviously like the Andes occasionally, so we're cool now as far as I'm aware.
Like, I
was
sorry.
Weeks where it was just endless shit going back and forth.
Well, like, I know that Ninja and I aren't cool, and I don't care to be with him.
I just don't do it anymore.
Right. I think the thing that I want to know is, like, where does the line get fucking drawn, dude? Like, where does this shit end? You know, I know why Ninja's pulling his shit off his channel and, like, starting to go low profile. It's because people found out he had a kid. And now they're using it against him. And that's not anyone else's fault but his own, because he was doxing people that he didn't know could screw his life up. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to defend Ninja. Like, that's the problem. You know, he decided he was going to open up a Discord where he was going to dox everyone. And now karma's biting him in the ass.
And the thing is, he was told by several people privately, behind the scenes in DMs and everything, what was going to happen if he kept going on the way he was. I mean, I've been speaking to him for weeks before it all kicked off, with him being officially doxxed. And I kept telling him that you need to knock it off and pull back, otherwise it was going to happen. And sure enough, it happened. It's like, well, you've got no one else to blame now, because people are gonna dox you. They're not going to care. I mean, some of them, yeah, they might hold back and on the base that you've got a kid or you've got a wife or whatever, but others are just not going to give a shit. They're going to put it all out there and just tough shit. You know,
right, like, dude, I know for a fact
just because you're going with this doesn't make you immune.
Right, dude, I know for a fact that Happy Hour, like, I love some of the people in Happy Hour crew, don't get me wrong. Some of them are really cool people to talk to. But I know damn well, like, the fact that they were doxing people in that, he was doxing people in that group, they weren't going to hold back. They were going for blood. And that's what they got. You know, I told Ninja before he doxed me, like, fucking forever ago. I mean, me and Teddy Bear literally sat down in a fucking VC with the dude. And I told him bluntly, I'm like, dude, if you continue down this fucking road, you're going to regret this. You know, I get the whole Jared trolling thing. That's cool, but you might want to stop. Don't take it any fucking further than this, because you're going to regret it. And then, like, you know, he took it as me threatening him or some shit, and then it pissed him off more. And I'm like, dude, you know what? I wash my fucking hands of you. I am no longer going to try to convince you to stop doing your dumb shit, because clearly you can't take it fucking face value that the guy that knows what he's fucking talking about.
All right. Take a breath, Quinn. Take a breath.
Like,
so,
it's
and I get everything. I get everything that you're saying, and everyone wants to see the good in people. I even want to see the good in people as much as possible. Some people are beyond redemption, and that's the sad state of the world. Um, but it's like I was saying. This is the only thing that you can do is you can try to reason with them. If reasoning doesn't work, and your snicker is well deserved, Hatman. um, you can attempt to reason with them. Obviously, in most cases, that's not going to work. You can attempt to you can attempt that, but most of the time, the only thing that you can really do is like, okay, you're not going to be a rational thinking human being. You're not going to listen to reason. So the next steps have to be taken, which are going to be, going to be passing the information along to those who can get the most out of it. I think that, and it's like I was saying earlier, what Hatman is putting out and making people aware of what's going on, is awesome. And Quentin, you did the same thing. That's actually how you and I met. And I sent Stu Dog a link here just a few minutes ago. I'm not sure what's going on with him, but it is a sad state of affairs, definitely. But the only thing that you can keep doing is just getting that information out to the right people and hope that they'll do something when it needs to be done. The waiting game is the worst one to play, in my opinion, because most of the time things get worse before they get better, and if they get worse and then the trigger's pulled, then you can just go from there. But
dude, the thing is, I never really tried seeing the good in Ninja. There was no point in trying to see that. The thing that I wanted to do was just pull myself out of it. And if that meant telling Ninja to shut the fuck up, then honestly, that's what I was going to do. This was before a certain person and I weren't friends any longer. And I'm not going to go into that whole thing because it's just going to start shit. But, I've been telling people that I have ran with, and I've been telling people that I don't really run with, look, dude, if you know for a fact that you can't handle shit flipping itself on you, then don't do the shit.
Right, I got you.
That's just common sense.
All right, hang on just a second. I'm gonna, while Hatman still has a few minutes, I'm gonna bring another one in here just real quick. Stu Dog, how are you, sir? Thank you for joining us.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, Stu Dog?
Stu Dog, thank you.
D-O-G.
Yeah, Stu D-O-double-G, as I like to refer to him. Thank you for tuning in to the first episode. I hope that you will continue to watch, and because this is not what the whole channel is going to be about. Actually, I'm going to have a lot of other different things going on, which before the close, I'll kind of go over all of that. I've watched your work as well, and your commentary on things, and I have to tell you, I wish that you and Hatman would collaborate on something, because to me that would be absolutely priceless.
That does sound like an epic idea.
and
you fine Scottish whiskey.
and then once you do, whatever collaboration you guys come up with, I've got the perfect name for it. Call it Devil Dog.
Man and Cerberus strike.
So Stu, I'll ask you one of the same questions. How did you get involved in all of this?
Well, a lot of the stuff on my channel covers the more kind of legal and litigious and rules side of YouTube, and it was sheer watching a man destroy his own channel by live streaming porn in an attempt to take someone else down.
Oh, so you fell into this when all of the Shabisky stuff happened.
Yeah, and then when I heard another few things about like the petitioning minors for nudes and stuff, that's when I'd been putting together some notes, and it eventually turned into a video that was about an hour long. But I was looking at more of it from the goofy side, from like the crazy, stupid things that happened, rather than a serious take on the matter.
Well, there's
and then Dark Ninja shows up with his pants on his face.
Yeah, the underwear. I think the underwear kind of threw everybody off just a little bit. But I mean, is this when you got into all of this, was this just something like you were standing up against, or was it personal for you, or are you just trying to get your voice out there and make people aware of it?
Well, I mean, something that my channel's kind of stood for a couple of years now is like almost being like, well, the series name is Watch Dogs, so it's like, looking out for other people online and helping to give people the skills and abilities to sort of defend themselves from predators online and different sort of things like scams and hacks. But I think this is the first time that I've sort of ventured into actually dealing with sort of malicious people who are like online sort of child groomers and predators sort of thing.
Yeah.
Before this, it's mostly, my content's mostly been based on defend yourself against hackers and sort of personal information theft and stuff like that.
Well, your content definitely, like when I found out about you, actually a video of yours was recommended to me on YouTube, and I just started watching it, and I'm like, well,
cool. It's nice to know that they're recommending me.
I can't tell you how much weird stuff. I mean, because I'm one of these that goes down the YouTube rabbit hole like way too much, and that's actually how I found guys like Ron from Surviving Life and Hatman and all of that, and so it just turned into this whole big thing. I appreciate the work that people are doing to try to and I've said this on Quentin's stream quite a bit, and like I said, Hatman and I have talked quite a bit here and there, but I appreciate what's being done because it's something that needs to be done. The louder the voices get, I think maybe something could be stood for it. But the people that are actually speaking out, standing up. Let me rephrase. The people that are standing up for these people and criticizing the ones that are speaking out are just as bad. And I see people like, Hatman getting flack all the time about it, and then then when you started in on it, people were jumping on you and all this, and it's like, why? You're putting something out that's harmful, whereas they're not. They're basically trying to make you go away. Because
it's they don't like being called out because they're saying things like children as young as 4 can consent. Like, do they not realize how absolutely bonkers that sounds?
And the people that want to criticize, the ones who are standing up, and one of my favorite and I don't know if it's really relevant, but one of my favorite quotes from Hemingway was, "Critics are men who sit and watch a battle from a high place and come down and shoot the survivors." And that it's it. I don't know. I have friends who have kids, and I know that they're on YouTube all the time. Watching game playthroughs and all kinds of stuff, and it scares me. It literally worries me to no end when I see a child on YouTube, and I just have to just to myself, I just have to say, please don't let them come across some of these people, please, because the more, because they're getting creative. I mean, we can all admit to that. They're trying to become quite creative on how they hide all of this, and it's slowly coming out in the open. And I'll ask you the same question, since you are speaking for safety for everyone and everything like that. What advice would you give to parents who, like Hatman, who monitor their child's YouTube usage and everything like that? What advice would you give them to try to protect them from people like this?
I mean, this is almost going to sound like I'm saying spy on your kids sort of thing, but keep them safe in that way. Keep an eye on what they're doing, and be honest with them. Have the conversations. Tell them that there are people out there who are mean and vicious and callous, who seek to do them harm. I recently had a bit of an issue with one of the spammer hackers that was going about. Essentially a case of identity theft. They took my email address and they displayed it on the side of their account, which is relatively harmless at the end of the day, I suppose. But I was getting emails on a daily basis from people who had received spam from this spammer, and these emails were basically saying, "Hey, you commented on my channel saying let's be friends." Yeah, totally. And people were sending me links to become managers of their YouTube channels. So there are people out there who will literally hand over the keys to their YouTube account to some random stranger online because they left a nice comment on their video. Now, I don't know what you guys think about that.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that is very concerning and shocking.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I think it just means they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's crazy. You could find out a little bit more about the spammer who was leaving all these comments just through a quick Google search, and find out that there's been a lot of issues with them on the platform. But that when that happened, when I was getting those emails, that was quite a big eye opener for me. But luckily that seems to have died down now. I don't know what's happened, if they've actually removed their channel, or YouTube's taken my privacy complaints and my trademark complaints seriously and taken them down.
Well, I'm one of these, and this in the live streaming thing, and just to kind of give a little ego pat, I guess you could say. It's because of guys like Hatman and Quentin and you that I decided to finally give this a shot. And like I said, this channel that I'm going to be working on is going to have a whole plethora of things on it. It's mostly going to be philosophy and music and occult subjects and things like that. And I still want people to tune in, and I'll still do things like this too, but to just kind of keep people up to date with what's going on. And with Hatman and yourself and Quentin and all of that. But getting your voice out, there is not a bad thing. But when you're dealing with someone who is obviously, like, I've seen, there's one channel that that I do watch, and it's a mom and her little boy, and like he does cooking shows and all this other kind of stuff, and it's really awesome. I got my mom into watching them and all of that, and it's really cool. And like YouTube purposefully turned her comments off because she was making
the
videos like that.
COPPA regulations.
No, actually, it was before then, I believe. Like, it was before COPPA took effect. Like, they just shut her comments off completely, which she wasn't really happy about. But at the same time, I'm like, no, that's good. That's good, because her kid at the time was only like 2. And I'm like, no, this is good. While you want people to like leave you comments and things like that, you're also still going to run into those people who are going to, who shouldn't be leaving comments, basically.
Well, I'm going to duck out, guys. Apparently, it's getting busy downstairs. There are 30 people from New York who've been drinking bleach or queuing up to get in.
Oh, boy.
And apparently, we need to prepare the special sweet for Kim Jong-un. So, yeah.
Well, Hatman, thank you again for being my first guest on the Sanctum Sanctorum. I really, really appreciate your time, and I'm sorry I kept you a little bit longer than needed. And guys, those who are still watching and are going to be watching later, Hatman's channel description, link in the description below. Give him a subscription. Go and watch his content. He is a really great YouTuber, and he's a really, really good friend. And Hatman, once again, thank you so much, and I really, really hope you'll be back.
Catch you later, Hatman.
Oh, shucks. See you later, guys.
See ya.
Thanks for
Have
having
a
me.
good one, Hatman. Well, I'll give a few more minutes to you there, Stu Dog. So, and
Sure, I don't have any plans, so I can hang about for as long as within reason.
Right. I've got some plans this afternoon, so I don't have too much longer. But I'm gonna definitely be.
That's nighttime for me now, so it's like 9:30.
Well, I'm definitely going to be in contact with you probably later on today or tomorrow, and I will definitely work something out. I'd love to have you on, and we can
Hey, definitely anytime, man.
Have a little bit back and forth. So so the whole situation with you said got worked out. Did you ever figure out who actually did it or why they did it, or what did you?
So basically what it stems down to is my spam awareness videos were calling out a specific spammer, and they obviously got annoyed that I'd exposed them, perhaps a little bit more annoyed that the videos about it seemed to be doing quite well. Basically, in the past couple of months, my channel skyrocketed. I hit like 450 subs at Christmas, and I'm now literally on the verge of hitting 1,000.
Oh, congratulations!
So, thank you. But that I got massive growth because these guys were going about spamming, and I'd made a video about it, basically saying, "Watch out for these guys. They were at it years ago. They're back. So, delete and remove anything that you see."
Right.
So, in a way to, I guess, annoy me, they displayed my information on their channel to, I guess they wanted me to experience mass spam of my email box. Looking over it, there's about 1,000 deleted random emails from people. Like I say, people literally handing over the keys to their channel and crazy stuff like that. People sending me music files for consideration to be uploaded onto a fake non-copyright sounds music channel.
Right.
But it looks like they just decided that they wanted to impersonate me to annoy me. But luckily, it's quite difficult for me to get annoyed. And if you're going to provide me with a story like this, if you're going to provide me with a channel that has my information displayed on the side of it, I'm a YouTuber. You know what I'm going to do? Going to make a video about it, haven't I?
I'm
going to use this for the views.
Well, you know, they always say that there's no such thing as bad publicity. You know what I mean? Well, gentlemen, it has been a pleasure, and as I said, I have somewhere to be here in the next few minutes. But I want to thank Hatman for coming on. Definitely, Quentin, thank you for coming on. Stu Dog, thank you so much for popping in on the.
Thanks for the invitation, Widows.
Oh, absolutely, the inaugural episode of the Sanctum Sanctorum. So, real quick, do you have anything that you are working on, or anything that you want to plug, real quick?
Nothing major at the moment. I am working on a video it's a bit of a weird one, a bit of an experimental one. I don't know if you know Star Trek that well, but it's based on the Ferengi rules of acquisition.
Okay.
And I'm translating that over to like YouTube and YouTubers and streamers. So it's stuff like greed is eternal, and then you'll see that girl like demanding money from her subs.
You don't speak Klingon, do you?
I literally know a word of it.
I was gonna say you should do a whole video in nothing but Klingon with subtitles.
Sing some Klingon songs.
There you go. All right. Well, guys, thank you everyone so much for tuning in today. This has been so much fun. And Stu Dog, thank you again for popping in real quick. I will be in touch with you either later on today or tomorrow. We'll get a time worked out, and I will definitely have you on, just you, and we'll definitely talk some more. So, guys,
sounds like fun.
Awesome, guys. So hit the subscribe button, the notifications bell, so you can see when I'm going to be on. I may try to do just some comments, just some talking videos here and there, maybe, but for now it's just going to be the live streams. But I do want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Sanctum Sanctorum, and I wish you all a very good afternoon, and peace be with you.